Alright guys, Touch Crimsix back again today. Hope you enjoyed your day so far. Today we're going to talk about what Slasher had to say on the podcast a few days ago, talking about how a lot of the professional players, a lot of the veteran professional players are getting really lazy playing Call of Duty nowadays. They don't put in the time, they don't put in those 10 hours a day, they're not in Thames every single night like they used to be when they enjoyed the game, but when they don't enjoy the game, pros well, they don't put in the effort that they used to, and that's leading to a lot of professional players being replaced by amateur guys, of course, most notably with the OGLA roster, with Dashy and JCap forced to step out of the team with Draza and Hollow coming in. We've seen this a lot of times over the course of the season as well with other rosters, and it begs the question, will this continue to happen into the future? Like if you guys enjoy the video, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. This was talked about by Accuracy a while ago as well. He talked about, well, when the initial OpTic roster was actually being formed with this Draza and Hollow change, talking about how, well, some players are just lazy and that shouldn't be an excuse.
Actually has a talent, he just doesn't like the game. See, I hate that. I hate how some players get that cop out. Like, I've seen Twitch chat saying that about other players. Like, man, he just doesn't like the game. That's why he doesn't grind and he's not good. What? You're a fucking professional Call of Duty player. It doesn't matter what game is in front of you, whether you like it or not. You better grind it and get good at it. It's your fucking job.
So there's a couple of clips I want to share with you from the podcast as well, but TJ has to say about this what Slasher is about to say, or well, I don't exactly show the clip where what Slasher says about TJ specifically, about not particularly like putting in his all early season when he didn't really believe in the roster that was, well, the roster was going to win when they changed out Dashy for Chino, but he says they should rename the CODcast to the Capcast. Then he also says this in reply. So, well, what they say about you, bro, giving 50% in practice while they were trying Chino for Dashy. And, well, we get this pretty funny tweet thread as well. So, Jacob says, insane clutch in this tournament. TJ says, why couldn't you snake like that on Gunner at a hard point? We never got a setup so that I could. Slasher told us to chow off Heglitches, bro. I am mind blown. Slasher also said to grind the game, but no one wanted to listen to that one. So, I'll put these couple of clips on screen for you guys right now with Slasher talking about the situation and, well, how he thinks there's some pros, not including himself, but to some degree himself in early season, well, definitely don't take it as seriously as they should do, largely due to the salary situation.
I don't really think that's the specific thing I'm going to change going into next year. I think I'm going to value more of just getting people who are super big grinders, passionate people about the game. No matter if they like it or not, they're going to be on all day, every day, because that's how kind of I am. I'm in tens every night. If you watch the streams and stuff like that, I play more than anyone. And I've learned to really value that asset in a person more so than other things.
You know, from talking to you before, I remember you were talking about there were people on your team who really didn't listen in practice.
So I thought that was our best thing moving forward. And the Brandon situation, I mean, I think it was clear that just throughout the whole year, he was not giving effort, at all. I mean, we were switching roles and all this stuff. I don't know. It was just a tough situation where I feel like he was not giving effort throughout the entire year. And I don't know, it was just really disappointing. So I feel like we had to move forward with the AMs. And like I said, I value that grind and passion aspect of players a lot more highly now, because I think that's what it takes. Look at all these new guys coming in and doing well. Are they just that much better and more talented than the other people that are taking their spot, or are they playing the game more and more in tune with the times? You know what I mean? Putting that 10 hours in, playing tens. But a lot of the more veteran players have just not put in the same effort they have in the past years. So they haven't been able to learn that. Yeah, they're just going with emotions. Exactly. Like I said, I was doing it the first month of the game too.
You think it's the money, Austin, that's making them do it? How much they're getting paid now?
Personally, yeah. I do think the money has a lot to do with it. I think that safety net makes it to where even if I don't win, I'm getting paid X amount of dollars, I'm good. Yeah. Whereas back when we were playing in Ghosts and stuff like that, it was if I don't win this tournament, shit, I'm out. You know what I mean? I can't play anymore. That's what I was thinking.
I knew it was gonna have some effect. Go ahead, John.
It has a major effect. The guaranteed contracts, your money doesn't even change when you get benched. That's incredible. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, I guess it protects the players. I understand, but at the same time, there's not every player, of course, but it makes certain players so lazy and just it just going through the motions, doing whatever they need to do to get by. They get dropped. They're whatever. I'll change some Warzone.
Yeah,
I'm still getting paid.
So due to players making a lot more money than they used to, you will see now that if you look at the league, a lot of players have been switched out for players which, well, are just a fantastic up-and-coming young talent, and as Slasher says, are willing to put in the hours and put in the 10 hours a day. And the fact that, like, back in the day, these players, like, could have a winning mentality. And some players have a really, really hard winning mentality where if they come second place, like even a Game 5 round 11, that's just not good enough, right? And that's something that you need to be a champion, I think, especially nowadays, because back in the day, as Slasher was indicating, players that didn't necessarily have a winning mentality, like as I was just describing, had to still win to pay their bills, right? And if they didn't win, they're still gonna, well, they're not gonna win the money, right? Which is a big deal for them back in the day. However, nowadays, with the salaries being pretty much astronomical compared to what they were, these guys don't have to worry too much. If you lose the event, if you come top 8, doesn't really matter at the end of the day because you're still getting paid absolutely bank, right? And if you do go onto the bench, like, well, Garet and a lot of players this season, you're still getting paid the same amount, which is surprising to me. I think we saw it with Enable earlier this season. I thought he honestly implied that he was earning somewhat less than his base salary, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's team dependent for sure. And if that is the case, you're earning the same money on the bench. As Pac-Man says, he understands it to protect the players to some degree, but at the same time, it means that if you get benched, who really cares, right? And well, I think Enable definitely implied that early season that he wasn't putting in the time that he should have been, probably because, like, he was chilling, right? And even if he goes to the bench, he's still making bank. You can play Warzone, all this kind of stuff regardless. Doesn't create a great environment for these veteran players who have been used to have to, like, putting in the time and winning these events to actually pay their bills. Now they don't have to do that. It gets to a point where, well, you know, who really cares, right? And maybe they don't have that, like, same drive to win like some of the younger guys do that are up and coming. And as Slasher says, guys like Awakening and Mac and, well, Hollow and Draza, for example, on the OpTic Gaming Los Angeles team now, they're not necessarily more talented than the players they're replacing, even though that could be true to a degree, but maybe it's just because they're putting more time into the game and they understand it to a greater degree, and they're more willing to learn and improve, and not just, well, give up at the earliest opportunity and the earliest sign of an obstacle, like, well, some professional players might nowadays. And I think we're definitely going to see this trend going forwards. I think we've seen it maybe with Slack, some of the tweets that he's done against these younger players. Maybe it looks like, to an outside perspective, like maybe Slack is just somewhat concerned, right, that maybe he's not putting in the time that he used to, and maybe he's questioning whether he'll have a spot on an organization in a couple of seasons' time if this trend continues. Is that necessarily due to being lazy or whatever? Like, not necessarily, but, well, it's something that I would be thinking about, especially if the league continues to be online, which obviously is a concern for a lot of people going into this next season. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. As always, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.